In the 2005 National Electrical Code, there are no explicit limitations on the location of a subpanel within a building, assuming that the installation adheres to all applicable regulations and safety standards. This represents a significant change from the 2002 National Electrical Code, which imposed restrictions on the placement of subpanels in certain areas such as bathrooms, kitchens, and similar locations deemed to be potentially hazardous due to the presence of moisture or other environmental factors. The primary consideration for locating a subpanel, therefore, shifts from a blanket prohibition based on room type to a more nuanced evaluation of the specific installation context and adherence to relevant safety requirements. The National Electrical Code serves as a comprehensive set of guidelines for electrical installations, encompassing a wide range of requirements related to wiring methods, overcurrent protection, grounding, and equipment specifications. These requirements are designed to minimize the risk of electrical hazards such as fire and shock, and to ensure the safe and reliable operation of electrical systems. While the National Electrical Code provides a foundational framework for electrical safety, it is crucial to recognize that local jurisdictions often adopt and amend these codes to reflect specific regional conditions and priorities. As a result, local codes can vary considerably from city to city and may impose additional restrictions or requirements beyond those outlined in the National Electrical Code. To ensure compliance with all applicable regulations, it is essential to consult with the local authority having jurisdiction, which is typically the city or county electrical inspector's office. These authorities can provide detailed information on local code requirements and can answer specific questions related to electrical installations. In the context of installing a 200 amp subpanel in a laundry room, the absence of explicit restrictions in the 2005 National Electrical Code does not imply that the installation is automatically permissible. Several factors must be carefully considered to ensure compliance with safety standards and local regulations. Firstly, the subpanel must be properly rated for the intended load. A 200 amp subpanel is designed to handle a maximum current of 200 amps, and it is crucial to ensure that the connected load does not exceed this rating. Overloading the subpanel can lead to overheating, insulation damage, and potentially fire. Secondly, the subpanel must be installed in a location that provides adequate access for maintenance and repairs. The National Electrical Code requires sufficient working space around electrical equipment to allow qualified personnel to safely perform inspections, troubleshooting, and repairs. This working space typically includes minimum clearances in front of the equipment, as well as adequate lighting and ventilation. Thirdly, the subpanel must be properly grounded and bonded. Grounding provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, tripping the circuit breaker and preventing electrical shock. Bonding ensures that all metallic parts of the electrical system are at the same electrical potential, further reducing the risk of shock. The grounding and bonding requirements are specified in Article 250 of the National Electrical Code and must be strictly followed. Fourthly, the wiring methods used to connect the subpanel must comply with the National Electrical Code requirements. The size and type of conductors must be appropriate for the ampacity of the circuit, and the conductors must be protected from physical damage. The wiring must be installed in accordance with the National Electrical Code requirements for raceways, cable trays, or other approved wiring methods. Fifthly, the overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers or fuses, must be properly sized and installed. Overcurrent protection devices are designed to protect the wiring and equipment from overload and short-circuit conditions. The National Electrical Code specifies the maximum allowable overcurrent protection for different types of conductors and equipment, and these requirements must be strictly followed. Sixthly, the subpanel must be installed in a location that is protected from physical damage. The National Electrical Code prohibits the installation of electrical equipment in locations where it is likely to be damaged by impact, vibration, or other mechanical forces. In a laundry room, this may require the subpanel to be mounted on a wall or otherwise protected from accidental contact. Seventhly, the subpanel must be installed in a location that is not subject to excessive moisture or humidity. While the 2005 National Electrical Code does not explicitly prohibit subpanels in laundry rooms, it is important to consider the potential for moisture exposure. Moisture can lead to corrosion of electrical components and can increase the risk of electrical shock. If the laundry room is subject to high humidity or is prone to water leaks, it may be necessary to provide additional protection for the subpanel, such as a weatherproof enclosure. Eighthly, the subpanel must be installed in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. Electrical equipment manufacturers provide detailed instructions on the proper installation and operation of their products, and these instructions must be followed carefully. Failure to follow the manufacturer's instructions can void the warranty and can create a safety hazard. In addition to these general requirements, there may be specific local codes that apply to the installation of a subpanel in a laundry room. For example, some jurisdictions may require the subpanel to be located a certain distance from plumbing fixtures or appliances, or they may require the installation of ground fault circuit interrupter protection for circuits serving the laundry room. To ensure compliance with all applicable regulations, it is essential to consult with the local authority having jurisdiction and to obtain all necessary permits before beginning the installation. The local electrical inspector can provide guidance on specific code requirements and can inspect the installation to ensure that it meets all applicable standards. In summary, while the 2005 National Electrical Code does not explicitly prohibit the installation of a 200 amp subpanel in a laundry room, several factors must be carefully considered to ensure compliance with safety standards and local regulations. These factors include the subpanel's ampacity rating, accessibility, grounding and bonding, wiring methods, overcurrent protection, protection from physical damage and moisture, and adherence to the manufacturer's instructions. Consulting with a local authority having jurisdiction and obtaining all necessary permits are essential steps in ensuring a safe and compliant installation. Furthermore, it's worth noting some additional considerations that, while not explicitly code requirements in every jurisdiction, represent best practices for electrical safety and can contribute to a more robust and reliable installation. Firstly, surge protection is a valuable addition to any subpanel, but especially in locations where sensitive electronic equipment might be used. Laundry rooms often contain appliances with electronic controls that can be vulnerable to voltage surges. A surge protective device, or SPD, installed at the subpanel can help to mitigate the damaging effects of these surges, extending the life of connected appliances. Secondly, arc fault circuit interrupters, RFCs, are increasingly recommended for branch circuits throughout the home, including those serving laundry rooms. SIs are designed to detect and interrupt arc faults, which are a common cause of electrical fires. While not always required by code, installing SIs provides an additional layer of protection against fire hazards. Thirdly, consider the future needs of the laundry room when sizing the subpanel. While a 200 amp subpanel may be adequate for the current load, it's wise to anticipate potential future additions, such as new appliances or equipment. Installing a larger subpanel than is currently needed can provide flexibility for future expansion and can avoid the need for costly upgrades later on. Fourthly, proper labeling of the subpanel and its circuits is essential for safety and convenience. Each circuit breaker should be clearly labeled to indicate the specific appliances or outlets it serves. This makes it easier to identify and troubleshoot problems and can prevent accidental disconnection of critical circuits. Fifthly, ensure that the subpanel is installed in a location that is readily accessible for maintenance and repairs. Avoid installing the subpanel behind obstructions or in areas that are difficult to reach. This will make it easier to perform routine maintenance and to respond quickly to any electrical problems that may arise. Sixthly, consider the aesthetic impact of the subpanel installation. While functionality is paramount, it's also important to choose a location that minimizes the visual impact of the subpanel. A flush-mounted subpanel can be less obtrusive than a surface-mounted one, and careful routing of wiring can help to keep the installation neat and tidy. Seventhly, it is also imperative to verify the qualifications of the individual performing the electrical work. Electrical installation should only be performed by licensed and qualified electricians who are familiar with the National Electrical Code and local codes. Hiring an unqualified individual can result in unsafe or non-compliant installations that can pose a serious safety hazard. Eighthly, proper documentation of the electrical installation is essential for future reference and for insurance purposes. Keep a record of all permits, inspections, and electrical diagrams related to the subpanel installation. This documentation can be helpful when selling the property or when making insurance claims. In addition, be aware that some local codes might specify particular requirements for the type of wiring used in a laundry room. For instance, some jurisdictions might require the use of moisture-resistant or waterproof wiring methods in areas that are prone to dampness. Also, take into account the placement of the laundry room appliances themselves. The National Electrical Code has specific rules regarding the location of receptacles relative to sinks, washing machines, and other water sources. These rules are intended to minimize the risk of electrical shock. Lastly, remember that the information provided here is intended for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice. Always consult with a licensed electrician and the local authority having jurisdiction before undertaking any electrical work. Electrical installations can be dangerous, and it's essential to take all necessary precautions to ensure safety. Staying informed about the latest updates to the National Electrical Code and local codes is also crucial for maintaining electrical safety. Codes are constantly evolving to reflect new technologies and best practices, and it's important to stay up to date on the latest changes. In conclusion, while the 2005 National Electrical Code removes the blanket prohibition of subpanels in laundry rooms, numerous other considerations remain paramount. These encompass adherence to local codes, careful load calculations, proper grounding and bonding, appropriate wiring methods, overcurrent protection, physical protection, moisture control, and adherence to manufacturer's instructions. Incorporating best practices such as surge protection, arc fault circuit interrupters, and careful planning for future needs will contribute to a safer and more reliable installation. Always prioritize safety by consulting with qualified professionals and staying informed about the latest code requirements. Electrical work should only be performed by licensed and experienced electricians.